And a new range of children's toys might not be as harmless as they seem, with a growing influx of AI-powered products hitting the market, raising concerns that they could be too risky for families.
Yeah, from a potential decline in social development to issues with privacy, experts are warning parents to think twice before buying into the trend. And to find out, we're joined live now by futurist Michael McQueen. Good morning to you, Michael. All right, what types of toys have these AI features?
Yeah, we've come a long way from Tickle Me Elmos and Tamagotchis, haven't we? So we're talking like teddy bears, dolls, obviously robots, but a lot of learning aids as well that are essentially like cuddly chatbots, and they're becoming increasingly popular. So for parents, there's a lot to be aware of in terms of, to your point, some of the risks around some of these toys.
Okay, so how could these products harm the way that kids interact and build relationships?
Well, there's a couple of things. So psychosocial risks would be like they develop attachments that feel so real.
Right.
Like the toys talk back, they hold conversations. I remember what you said yesterday and respond differently tomorrow as a result. One of the interesting ones that we've been tracking the last few years is the impact on manners. There's been a bit of commentary around the fact that you hear a lot of young kids who've grown up with Alexa saying, hey Alexa, turn off the music, or hey Google, turn down the lights. They then go into a retail store or just public life and start to talk to humans the same way.
Yeah,
so we're conditioning kids around some of that stuff. But I think the big thing around this in many cases is you're just not aware of the risks of what they're being exposed to. About a quarter of these toys, when they've been monitored and tested, are sharing inappropriate content or asking inappropriate questions. That's just a lack of guardrails.
Is there a privacy issue here too as well? Because they're collecting so much data.
100%. So, think about it this way for a parent. Would you let a stranger with a microphone or a camera go into your kid's bedroom? No, you wouldn't, of course. But that's what these toys essentially are in many cases. They've got sensors and cameras and microphones. So for parents, check the privacy guidelines. Can you turn some of the settings off? One little tip I would just say is buy Australian wherever you can. Our toys are held to a high standard. In fact, I reckon one of the most under-celebrated Aussie success stories is a company called Moose Toys. They're an Aussie brand. Great products, very safe. Look for ones like that because that gives you a degree of sort of confidence, I think. Because
there might be parents out there saying, oh, but my kids love it. Yeah, I mean, they might also love Game of Thrones, but we don't put a 4-year-old in front of that.
Correct.
But, what would you say to parents who are saying, but my kid's so happy with it?
Yeah, so firstly, I understand the cute factor, and there can be some benefits. They're incredibly clever toys. We call them smart toys for a reason. Just check, can you change the parental controls? Where is the data stored?
Right.
Is internet enabled? A company called Common Sense Media has some great guidelines on what to do with some of this stuff. But I think in many cases also be aware that if you think back to your own childhood, some of the best toys are the ones that cause you to have to use your own imagination. They weren't smart. They were inanimate objects. So it might feel cool in the moment. They're a smart toy, but what are you robbing them of in the long run?
I was just going to ask, as a parent though, for you, and for you as an expert in this area, is there some benefits here though as well? We're all relying on AI so much in our lives right now. That's only going to grow in the future as well. Could there be a benefit for kids learning how to use AI at a young age?
Well, there could be. The reality is not using AI in an active sense. It's essentially, it's a toy that's talking back to you and pretending to be your friend. So it's not like we're training them to use tools that they'll actually use at school or at work. It's a very different use of AI.
Just a question without notice, because you mentioned there about kids losing manners. Can you do a myth buster for us? Because there is this story going around, I don't know whether it's an old wives' tale, but that if you're polite to your AI, that you're the one that gets saved when Armageddon comes. Have you heard that?
When the computers turn on us.
Keep the bots on.
Have you ever heard that?
I have heard that. So the reality is you often do get better responses if you use manners. The tone does change, it adjusts to you. But it does also waste a whole lot of compute power as well because it's responding with manners. That's extra words and extra tokens. So there's some benefit, but there's also an environmental cost with how much water and power is being used to power manners from AI. Who would have thought?
It's actually more environmentally friendly to be rude, isn't it?
There you go.
So there you go, kids. That's David Woodward's motto.
All right, Michael, nick off. See you later, mate.
That's enough.
Enough from you.
Thank you.